Among the expensive alcoholic beverages, the most expensive premium liquor in the world, tequila, originating from Mexico, is always sought after and owned. A beverage made from the agave plant, people are always arguing about the distillation method and meticulousness. It takes a lot of time and technique to produce this type of liquor. The name tequila is taken from the name of a famous city in Mexico. In Mexico, you can see this type of drink everywhere. It is considered a symbol of the country. Its popularity spreads all over the world, and especially Americans are very interested in it. Tequila becomes a billion-dollar industry, bringing a lot of jobs and foreign currency to this country. To make tequila, let's see the process of planting, harvesting, and producing this premium beverage. This Mexican alcoholic beverage is made from the agave plant. There are many types of agave, but only the blue agave plant was chosen because of its outstanding advantages, grown in the state of Jalisco. The blue agave is a large plant that thrives in the highlands, where 80% of the blue agave plants in Mexico are grown and where most of the tequila distilleries in the country are located. The agave stem is the main ingredient used to make tequila. To get this plant, people have to plant it from a young age. It takes 6 to 12 years of care for the plant to grow and mature. It especially thrives in an environment with a lot of sulfur. And this land has a lot of sunshine and is an ideal space for the plant to absorb light. In Mexico, there are 136 species of agave plants, but only the blue agave is the best and safest raw material to use as the basic ingredient for tequila. After removing the leaves, a stem can weigh from 40–100 kg. Before planting, the soil needs to be carefully prepared. The land must be well drained because agave cannot tolerate waterlogging. The soil must be plowed to loosen the soil and remove weeds. The pH of the soil should be between 6.5 and 7.5 with a moderate organic content. The plants are usually grown from young shoots of the mother plant. These will be collected and cultured in nurseries until they are strong enough to be planted out in the field. The seedlings should be selected from healthy mother plants, without signs of disease or insects. Agave plants are planted in rows about 1.5 to 2 meters apart to ensure space for the plants to grow fully. The plants should be planted about 10 to 15 cm deep, so that the roots can contact the soil as best as possible. Agave is a drought-tolerant plant, so it does not need much watering. However, during the seedling stage, it is necessary to ensure that the soil is moist enough to help the plants take root and grow. Once the plant is mature, the amount of water required will decrease, and the plant only needs to be watered during the long dry season. Fertilization is usually done with reasonable doses, mainly organic fertilizers or mineral fertilizers, to provide adequate nutrients for the plant throughout the long growth cycle. Fertilizers are applied at the beginning of the rainy season to ensure the best absorption by the plant. Pests and diseases can affect the growth of the agave plant, especially insects such as woodworms and leaf rollers. Prevention and treatment of pests and diseases can include the use of pesticides or biological measures. When the agave plant reaches the age of 6 to 12 years, the core of the plant will become thick and contain the amount of sugar needed to produce tequila. Harvesting is done by skilled workers. The process of exploiting this tree is also extremely difficult and hard, requiring the exploiter to have good health and dexterity because the leaves of the tree have sharp thorns, very hard and dangerous, to remove these leaves. People have created a very special tool, and during the exploitation process, people take it out to grind so that the exploitation process is most effective. The trunk is retained. After the trunk is harvested, it will be transferred to the processing factory. The first process is to clean and cut the agave into smaller pieces to prepare for the cooking process. The production of tequila is a complex process, requiring not only agricultural knowledge but also an understanding of fermentation, distillation, and aging, which takes hundreds of years to be able to condense a formula and get the best liquor. The very high sugar content in the core of this tree is used in the production of tequila drinks. These large trunks are the result of many years of planting and care. These people can also determine which tree is fully ripe. This is a difficult task because this tree is surrounded by leaves and sharp thorns. After the leaves are removed, this tree looks like a giant pineapple. Then the core of this tree is broken down and transported to processing plants. The next step is to convert the starch into sugar after the workers chop the large blue agave stalks into smaller pieces and they put them into large brick ovens where they are steamed or baked for hours. The cooking process converts the agave starch into sugar. Each oven can hold about 15 to 20 tons. A large amount of active coal. After 3 days, they are ready to give out a fragrant and reddish-brown liquid, soft and sticky. It is time to put them into rotating grinders that cut the plants into long, thin strands. The grinders press the agave pieces until they release every drop of juice. These strands escape onto a conveyor belt. Even the crushed strands are washed to remove any remaining sugar. The juice is so sweet, it is called honey water. This juice flows through a pipe to a series of wooden tanks, similar to what their ancestors passed down. Many of the techniques used when they started distilling the wine tequila in 1500. After the crushing process, releasing the juice and the fiber reabsorbed, turning it into a mixture, then they add yeast. Fermentation is a process in which sugar turns into alcohol. Now it's time to get to the microorganism in all fermentation. It's yeast, but this is not ordinary yeast, it's different strains of yeast depending on the secret of each family. Each place has a different flavor. The yeast reproduces quickly, complete from the sugar, and creates alcohol and carbon dioxide. In 30 hours, most of the agave, the sugar has been converted into alcohol, and after 72 hours of fermentation, this mixture and the fermented juice has a sour taste and aroma that fills the room. This mixture is then put into large vats, boiled to ensure a moderate temperature. Because the alcohol at a gentle boiling temperature has begun to evaporate, the steam passes through a copper tube immersed in a cold water tank is condensed. The liquid flows. This slow release is the finished product of tequila. At this stage, this super strong drink is tasted by the very craftsmen who have been waiting day and night to distill it. It tastes good, but is too strong to be sold in this form. Water is added to reduce the alcohol content to 40%. This is the standard for producing fine aromatic spirits. To remove the alcohol, the distillation team ferments 2 separate blocks in large vats, then transports it out of the factory in a tanker. The alcohol will gradually develop the full flavor of the tequila. It will be replaced in this giant wine cellar. The cellar consists of many white oak barrels, sprayed with humidifiers to prevent them from drying out, and the tequila inside from evaporating. The best alcohol is still here for up to 5 years to get the great flavor for a slightly more complex drink. The tequila is aged in oak barrels for 2 months or longer. Depending on the quality during the aging process, tequila absorbs the flavor of the wood, giving different flavors. The final stage is ready for bottling, but the team needs to do a final check before it is shipped to the consumer. With a high score and the bottling process can begin, the tequila is now ready to drink, so it goes to the bottling area where the bottles are placed upside down on a rotating stand. The inside is sprayed with a little alcohol for a quick rinse. Up to 15,000 bottles can be filled an hour. Rinsing them with alcohol ensures that quality is always of the utmost concern. Each bottle is then numbered for traceability. The distillery, where hundreds of thousands of barrels of tequila are produced each year and shipped to over 40 countries worldwide.